this week we thought that we would answer some of the questions that we frequently get asked, or in other words, frequently asked questions. Makes more sense, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
So we've got them written down on the iPad. So we'll start off with the first one. The first one is, why does George always sit in the front of the car? Well, there's several reasons for that, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
Firstly, it's easier for him to sit in the front with the splints that he wears, the daffos, because he's got more room for his legs. So that's the first reason. The second reason is it's always useful to have an extra pair of eyes at the front when you're going somewhere that you've never been before or you're not sure of the way, just to look out for road names and that kind of thing. That's useful. And thirdly,
I am a night owl who keeps very strange hours doing very strange things.
So if John sits in the front, he tends to fall asleep very quickly and he ends up going like that. And he's leaning forward and I can't see anything out of the window at the side he's sitting on. So it's much simpler if John sits in the back and George sits at the front.
Perhaps if I wasn't a night owl it would be different, but we don't know. And
we don't know, but the other reasons are still valid anyway.
Yes, and I think I'll always be a night owl who keeps strange hours, probably.
Well, possibly. Next question was, how do you decide where to visit? Well, that's an interesting one. Sometimes we visit places that we've been to before and that we've enjoyed and we've found to be quite accessible or otherwise maybe. And we've just decided to visit them again so that we can make a video about it. Other places we've never been to before. So Bliss Hill was one that we went to recently that we'd never been to before. And we just decided to go there because we'd heard good things about it and thought we'd check it out for ourselves. I think that's about it really, isn't it?
That it is, yes. And yes, in some places we'll just look and say, oh, this could be fun. And sometimes it is, and other times it's not quite what we expected.
But that's life, isn't it?
Yes.
Next question. How do you choose the topic for informational videos? That's usually something that's happened and we think, oh, that'd be useful to make a video about. So when we did the one about the visually impaired obstacle course, for example, we had roadworks near to where we live and there was cones everywhere and holes in the road and barriers and so on. So that made us think that would make a good video, didn't it?
It did. So think of it this way. Basic things that happen in our everyday lives turn into informational videos.
Yeah.
So you can bet if there's an informational video about it, it's probably something that is very topical to us at that given time.
Yes, so that's how we decide to do things. We just think, oh, this has happened, that would be useful to share. Okay, the next question. Why did you decide to buy the Opus? Well, we wanted something so that we could go and visit places that were further away, that were further than a day trip, didn't we?
Yes.
And it also had to be something that we could keep at home in the garage. So we narrowed it down to folding campers really, didn't we? We looked at trailer tents, but just too tenty for me really. So we looked at folding campers, didn't we?
We did.
And we looked at two. And we looked at the Pennine Pathfinder and we looked at the Air Opus. Now on paper, we actually liked the Pennine better, didn't we?
Well, yes, but paper and
on paper
experiencing things are very different.
On paper we liked the Pennine better, but in reality when we went to see one we didn't like it very much. It felt quite, I don't know, kind of enclosed to us, didn't it?
Yes.
And quite small, really. And then we went to view an Opus, and it was like, wow, because it's got a very high roof on it. I think it's over 2 meters high, the roof on it, so it gives you this feeling of space, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And that's why we went for it, and plus it fits in the garage, and we like the novelty of pressing a button to inflate it, don't we? You might get a go one day, John.
Highly doubtful.
Oh, you never know.
Well, yes.
Next question is, how does John manage with different campsite shower rooms when he can't see them?
Well, first off, I think it should be said that if my sense of direction were better than it is, I think the answer to this would be a very different question. My sense of direction is abysmal, so just know that the answer to this is going to be very different for most folks who are visually impaired and how I manage them.
Okay, so what happened was the first night we were away, we used the shower the next morning. I went into the normal ladies' shower room and John went in the disabled shower room, and it was almost 2 hours later he came out. So we were kind of going, what happened, John? What happened? And what happened was you couldn't switch it off. You couldn't find the switch, and you couldn't find your towel, and you couldn't find your hearing aids where you'd put them, and all bits and pieces. So we resolved the issue of John struggling to find things in the shower and taking quite a long time to do so by us both going into the shower room, and I would have my shower and then John would have his shower, and while John was having his shower I would get dressed, and then while John was getting himself dressed I'd just pick up bits and pieces that he needed. Here's your clothes, here's your hearing aids, gather our bits together, and then we'd be done. 40 minutes for the two of us. Not bad. Why did you decide to buy the chair that George uses? Oh, I think we've mentioned this in an earlier video about George. We did have a manual chair for him. It was really hard work to push because he's the size of an adult, and it was hard work to push and guide you because you had to have your hand on my shoulder, didn't you?
That's how I do things, yes. If it isn't proper sight guide, I'll give you that, but
well, it wasn't. It's not possible to do proper sight guide when the other person's pushing a wheelchair.
Well, no, it isn't. You're right.
So we decided that we wanted an electric powered chair, but we wanted one that would fold up and fit in the car so it would be easier to get about. So that's why we ended up with the chair that we got for George. And the last question. Drum roll, please. Why did you decide to start the YouTube channel? We decided to start it so that we could show people with additional needs and disabilities what's out there, where you can go, how things are adapted for you to make it so that you can enjoy the day, and the informational ones just to point out things that we come across in day-to-day stuff. We just hope that people find it useful. Would you agree, John?
Yes.
Right, okay, that's all of our questions anyway. So thanks for joining us. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you don't already, please hit the subscribe button and you'll never miss one of our weekly videos. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time. Bye.